Hey guys, welcome into the Pug Reborn channel. We're back with some more Battle Brothers content. This is the Blazing Deserts DLC, and with the Blazing Deserts DLC, while I was in early access, I was able to check out a lot of the different name weapons that were coming out of the woodworks. I took pictures of all the ones that I ended up seeing, and there are some that are incredible, and some of them that are, they're alright. But I want to go over those with you guys. I know this isn't the normal content. You may have no desire to watch this video, and that's totally fine. But for those that really love looking at the named items and seeing, especially like the Cuttle Dagger or the Blade Lance or Sword Lance or however you, I'm trying to think of the name of it. Either way, you guys know what I'm talking about there. There is going to be that content here. So without further ado, let's check out the first weapon. So the first weapon is the Heavy Bardiche, and with the Bardiche, this is the Raiders' Vengeance. Now the Raiders' Vengeance, everything you see on here is the same except for the ignoring armor and then the buildup of fatigue per use of the weapon. So this is the type of weapon that you're going to want to use with a brother that has full armor and is just, I mean, a lot of armor, but doesn't quite make the requirements in the fatigue category. For instance, like if you're at 60, 63 fatigue, this weapon is perfect because you can pump out the damage, eat into the health. Eating into the health is the name of the game. That's where your morale checks happen. That's where it's going to be even more devastating if you're using the new Fearsome perk. This weapon totally builds that and more. And if you're using the Mastery for X, that -3 buildup of fatigue is just, oh man, it's a dirty deal. You're pretty much, I think it's like effectively you're dropping it to 9 fatigue per use. Yeah. You're not going to build that up. If you think about it, your regen is 15, so if you're jumping down to 9 or 10 right in that area, my god, it's going to be perfect for a brother like that. Even if you're using it as Berserk, it's still going to be really effective. I love this weapon. The name of the game is getting into the health, and this thing does just that. Second weapon I ended up finding was the Murderous Shieldbreaker. Now this is your normal two-handed axe. It's not the backline axe, it's the front line. And so everything is the same again, except for ignoring armor, and then finally the buildup of fatigue. Now on the flip side of this weapon compared to the last, it does pump out more damage as your normal axe. But again, the name of the game is getting into the health. And this thing does just that at 56% chance of ignoring, or 56% ignoring damage, ignoring armor. That is again very sick. Now in terms of your buildup of 1 less fatigue, look at it like this. If you swing this thing 10 times in combat, you're only saving yourself 10 fatigue. At the end of the day, that's not that great. Now, if it was -2 fatigue, you're talking about 20 fatigue over a whole combat turn. 3 is just absurd, and that's why I like the other one a little bit better than this. But however, this thing is going to hit hard, and it is amazing. Again, I personally you can use this on any frontliner. It's amazing. The price at 12,000 crowns, pretty dang cool. Definitely worth the name Murderous Shieldbreaker. Alright, we're going to poo-poo into the more disappointment category. The Violent Ray. Now, the Violent Ray is a polearm. It's, just so that we're clear, it's not just a polearm. It is a spear polearm, so you can use effectively the spear wall. Now, when using the spear wall, you get a 10% chance, not 20% chance. This is more for a niche build. We're talking like, I have one of my builds is called the Sea Raider, and he effectively uses the two-handed polearms. Now, when you're using this weapon in particular, you're still having the same damage, 60 to 80. However, this is what's really nice in terms of things coming into you, which is 39% ignoring armor. Now, there's an issue that I have with this because the AI is smarter now. Even ghouls don't run straight up and just totally go through your spear wall. So this weapon effectively has been downgraded a bit. However, if something is running into it, this is great for actually eating into the health. Again, name of the game. And then also at the bottom there, you see the max fatigue is at 10. That's a bit of a drop as well. So yeah, it's a nice weapon, but it's not like over the top. Now here's a weapon that is a little bit better. It actually is just better in general, especially because of the actual damage itself. The Marvelous Skewer. This thing is going to skew. You think about now the two-hander bill hook. It does 55 to 85 damage. This thing is 70 to 96 damage, and while you're not getting through the health so much, you are getting effective against the actual armor. It goes up 16% from its 100%. Now the max fatigue is actually at the same. So when you look at the price of this, the last one was 87,000 or 87 8,700 crowns, and this one is at 77. That's a great jump. I would prefer this over that because I don't have to use Spear Wall and use that as a niche build. It is good in the back line and can be used to protect from those raiders jumping around the outside. Very, very beautiful weapon. I absolutely love this one. All right, this one may be a bit of a fan favorite. It's the Splitter. Simply put, the Splitter. And man, this thing can split. Now, at 10,000 crowns, this is a fantastic weapon. It does 100 to 118 freaking solid. If I could cuss right now, I would. But solid damage, man. And then you're talking about that 123% effective against armor. Now, if you guys don't already know, it's usually the normal damage is 85. With his Y-hander, it's 85 to 100. This thing starts at 100 and does to 118. The ignoring damage is the same, and effectiveness against armor gets a massive jump at 23% off the 100 baseline. It's incredible. I would love to use this thing. You talk AoE king, and a lot of things that I have a problem with two-handed swords, and this is all preference on my end. I'm not a huge fan of ultra late game with two-handed swords. However, when we're talking about getting into the damage and getting into armor, because in the ultra late game, it's about getting through the armor and getting to the health. Or if you can ignore the armor, getting into the actual health itself. But nonetheless, this thing is sick. I would love to use it. Unfortunately, I was not able to afford that at the time that I found it. Still an absolute, as it says, masterpiece. So as many of you know, the three-headed flail has now been updated. The base damage is, I'm pretty sure it's 30 to 75. So this is actually quite the downgrade, but for sake of it being in the update, let's pretend that this is actually 30 to 75 damage. The effectiveness against armor goes up 20%, and you're getting a dip in the fatigue category. So it's a little bit lighter. I believe that's what it is. Let me see here. Yes, I believe that's the case because this didn't change. It's 10% chance to hit. Yeah. Nonetheless, this thing is pretty dang nice. I hate to say this. I hate to say this as a huge fan of Battle Brothers and having such a poor outlook on the three-headed flail. But the new three-headed flail, if this changed, if this is higher, if you're over 100 in terms of damage and you're doing something with the armor, these things eat through beasts especially. If you guys didn't see my serpents, how to defeat serpents in the early game, this thing is, it kills serpents. It's so good against serpents. Nonetheless, the oversized Stampede is a nice weapon, but still not my favorite, and I would not pay that kind of money. 10,000, this is on par with that last weapon, the two-handed greatsword. So, yeah, not a big fan, but still, it is named the Ravenous Battlehammer. Now, this thing is sick. I love this bad boy. I mean, it is nasty. This thing is freaking nasty. The effectiveness of armor at 250, good lord, and then your damage jumps. It goes from 30 to 40. It's 30 to 40 is your base, and now it's 36 to 48. You put this on a duelist, and you're gonna just absolutely eat somebody alive. I can't even believe it. Like I don't know. When I saw this thing, I about lost my, It's absolutely incredible. If you're anything in ultra late game, you're using this thing, you can just eat the crap out of things. Think about facing the Ratchet guys. There's a perfect example of something that you could just get into them with this thing. So yeah, definitely an amazing weapon to eat away armor. Can't say enough about it. One of my favorites. So that is the Ravenous Battlehammer. Brock Mad Eyes Ravenger. No, but this one here, I don't even know what to say. This thing is absolutely insane. For a normal cleaver, okay, you're talking a baseline of 40 to 60 damage. This thing does 49 to 74 freaking damage. Good night. And then the effectiveness against armor takes a big jump too. I believe it's 90 and it goes up to 114. That's 24 extra stats on top. Again, a lot of these weapons that are one-handed, we're talking duelists. I'm looking at duelists. Now there is one more cleaver I do want to show you guys, which actually is really good for just a shield and the cleaver itself. You don't have to be crazy about it. But this thing will eat. Think of like the Khopesh. The Khopesh is one of my favorite weapons and stuff because you can actually eat into armor and be effective in terms of your baseline damage. But this baseline damage, we're talking about something that's close to like a Warbrand in terms of damage. It's absolutely gorgeous. One of my favorites as well. I'm going to say that about every single one of these. And the price at 88 100 crowns. Still really nice. Speaking of the last one, this is the Exquisite Lacerator. Huh, very nice. Masterwork, this one is. So here's your normal damage here at 40 to 60, and the effectiveness of armor actually goes up a little bit more. It goes up 3 extra percent, so that's 27% increase. Holy buckets. Very incredible. Love that. Now here's the thing though, that -2 less fatigue. Remember how I told you if you swing this thing 10 times, you're saving yourself. Well, with one less fatigue, it's only 10. With 2 less fatigue, we're talking 20 and 10 shots. That's a lot of fatigue that you're saving. And when we're talking about a brother with a shield or doing a shield wall, this is exactly it. You just need to effectively put this on a brother with a shield, and it's nights out. Not lights out. Not to say that it wouldn't be good with a duelist, because it would. But the idea is you're saving the fatigue, and a more fatigue-intensive brother with a shield, this thing works out fantastic. Here we go. Now we're getting into some more exotic southern blades. Granted, you could have found this in the previous version here, but still, it is nice to see the Dust Dancer's curved blade. Haha, the Dust Dancer. Such a great dancing person. Now granted, this weapon personally to me is not like the greatest thing in the world, but eating into the health, if you're talking about pure hit points, this thing is going to devastate. And look at that buildup of less fatigue. Less 3 fatigue. 10 shots, that's 30 fatigue that you ended up saving on this brother. Think about it. That's nasty. This weapon can be put on a duelist, it can be put on a normal brother on the front line. Personally, if it was me, I'd want it on a duelist for that boost in damage because of the effectiveness against armor. But nonetheless, this thing eats. And look at the durability as well. 97 freaking durability. You can just hack away for days, man. This thing is going to be absolutely sick for whoever finds it in the future. Which, of course, it's all randomized, so who knows if anybody will ever find this one again. I'm sure they will. Anyways, that is a sweet blade. But wait, there's more. The Exiled Shamshir. Now this one here goes back to its roots with 45 to 50 damage, but ignoring armor is a little more prevalent. So you're going up 6% on ignoring armor. Still, really nice if you're talking about just hacking away. It does lose its durability at 72 compared to 97, was it? Yeah, nonetheless, it still drops a little bit. And then you have the 1 less buildup for fatigue. Man, talk about a big range. You don't think about it until you actually put the numbers out. 10 shots, 10 less fatigue buildup. Really nice. Solid weapon. This one here, I would like to personally test. The thing is, when you have this ignore armor, you want higher damage. It works better in succession that way, just because of how much you're actually getting into the health. Again, Fearsome's going to be a nice weapon, or a nice option for this weapon, but still, very cool one that I ended up fighting. All right, where's all my flail lovers out there? So this is Sir Magnus. Now this is interesting. Sir Magnus is Assaulter. Now, does anybody know who Magnus is? Am I crazy? I feel like I see Magnus's name on a lot of named items. Nonetheless, its damage does get pretty well jumped. It's 31 to 68. That's quite a big jump. I believe prior it's, and please correct me if I'm wrong because I actually am losing my mind on this one. I think it's 25 to 55 in damage. So there's a bit of a range. Now this does jump quite a bit, up to 68. So that is quite nasty. And the effectiveness of armor against armor at 100 is really nice. But here we are with, again, 1 less fatigue buildup. I don't know. I'm on the fence about the flail. I do love the flail in the early and mid game. When we get to alter late game, if we're talking with a duelist, it's really effective being able to get around the shields and stuff, and exposed heads, of course. I might get a little flack for this, but for 10,000 crowns, I just don't know if this is worth it. I would have rather seen a jump in the effectiveness against armor or ignoring armor. But yeah, let me know what you guys think, and if I missed something here, you can feel free to correct me because I feel like I'm missing something. But either way, there is the Sir Magnus Assaulter. Alright, so let's jump back to another hammer. This is a little bit of a different breed of hammer. This is kind of like the last one, except kind of a poor man's last hammer that I showed you guys. This is the Masterwork MAULER, and maybe it looks super nice, but one thing that stands out is you have your like the durability is pretty high, but still not exactly as high as the last one. The ignoring armor is the exact same. Now, we have a bit of a drop here. We have 15% less drop than the last one. The other one was 250. And then, of course, the buildup of fatigue is 1 less. This weapon, to me, is still... This one, when I see it, I'm thinking more of a... someone with a shield, like a shield brother who needs a hammer or uses a hammer. This is a great option for them. But ultimately, this hammer just doesn't quite do it. It's only getting a 10% boost on its effectiveness against armor. Still nice, but at 10,000 crowns, I don't think I could commit. Still a beautiful hammer nonetheless. All right, let's take a bit of a right-hand turn pretty hard here into the throwing weapon category. This is Sir Lebrecht's, I don't know how to say it, Lebrecht's Thorns, I mean. This is a very nice weapon. I personally like the axes because of the damage you do against the undead, or any kind of armor, or the ancient undead is what it is. Now, this effectiveness against armor gets quite the boost, going up from 75 to 94. I love that. And then, of course, the additional chance to hit at plus 15, 5 uses, obviously really light. That price, though, 3,800. I don't care who you are. If you're using throwing weapons, you can't miss this one because of that extra chance to hit, because of the armor effectiveness. Me, personally, I think armor effectiveness, getting into the armor, is more important. When we talk about javelins, we're talking about getting into the hit points. So this is a 1-2 punch. Absolutely love it. Let me know what you guys think about that. Yes, the AL-KASIM'S Crusher. The Crusher. So now this is beautiful. I mean, we're talking that gold two-handed over the head freaking two spaces away mace. My God, so beautiful. Now this thing hits hard anyways. When you're playing the game, I think it's a very underrated weapon early on, because when I've used it obviously when early access, and I would have loved to use this this mace in particular. That 137 effectiveness against armor is absolutely amazing. And while you do have that extra chance to hit on the head, those are the only two things. Now here's the deal. I've noticed a few, even in my newer campaigns, that these weapons in particular, for some reason they're less money. 6,000 crowns for this? Are you kidding me? 6,000? Guys, that's crazy. That's amazing. That is a legit amazing price for a two-handed polearm, and being a mace at that. So yeah, I'm all about this, and I would love to see it with more damage, of course, and there's a lot of things I could change up. I don't need the hit chance to the head, though that is pretty nasty. So yeah, that's one of them. That's one of the newer ones, and we have more new ones to come. Alright, so we're going to take a step back. Now, this is technically more of a southern weapon. I know we've had it for the longest time now. It is the Golden Spear, the Marvelous Thorn. Now, this Marvelous Thorn actually is pretty dang cool. The original damage, if I'm correct, is 40 to 45 damage. So it didn't get a crazy boost in the damage department, being 42 to 48. But the only other thing I can really tell you about this thing is it's super light and has a lot of durability. So when if you have a brother with Spear Wall, this is a very, very nice weapon, because you're constantly burning fatigue. But this thing is taking a lot of that fatigue and giving it back to the brother himself. And also, you're not going to have to worry about it snapping right away. Beautiful weapon. I always love gold. Gold is my favorite, like, I don't know if I can even call it really color-wise, but I absolutely love this color, and I love this weapon for a niche build. Very cool. Very, very cool. We're coming closer to the end, and there is some grand finale coming, but I gotta show you some of these other ones, man. This one here rocks my socks, man. This thing is... oh my gosh. I'm not a huge Warbrand person, okay? That's just me personally. I'm not a huge one. Normally, the effectiveness against armor is 75. This thing jumps to 101. On top of that, look at the damage. Holy bucket butts. Bucket nuts. Whatever you want to call it, man. You're talking 64 to 96. This is almost on par with a... with the Zweihander, except you get 2 shots. Now, granted, I understand the Zweihander is 85 to 100. This thing goes up to 96, which is close to the top. So there is quite a bit of range, but you get 2 shots, which means you're more than likely going to hit. If you nail both shots, you're going to do as much damage, if not more, than the Zweihander. And it's very good at getting into certain... I mean, you think about what it is that you're going after, what you're attacking with this thing. I I love it. The consistency of damage to the armor too, over and over, is going to be nasty. So yeah, this one I love even at the 13,000 price range. If you build it correctly, it will come. All right, now let's jump to left field a little bit here. So the damage does get boosted here. And I don't know if I said it with the last one, but the damage on this weapon usually, is 50 to 75. So this thing looks really good. The other one looks insane. Definitely something to think about when you're making this. The durability drops, the damage drops from the last one. This one is a poor man's last weapon, and this one here is the famed Flesh Renderer. That's a very cool. That's a cool name. I like that name. The chance to hit on the head goes from 5 up to 16. Great deal for 11,000 crowns. I feel like there's other things that would be better. I would probably skip this, but it's still really nice. And if you love war brands, it's still a very nice weapon. All right, boys and girls, we're nearing the end. We have 2 after this. This is the Assassin's Bladed Lance. This is one that I could totally see on a sword dancer, or a sword lance dancer. What is that? Whatever it's called. The point still being, man, normally the damage is 60 to 80. We're talking 66 to 88. And the next thing that you look at is the max fatigue drop 30. This is all the same, but you are still getting extra damage, and it's good for a brother who needs a little more three-headed slice. The AoE that you get with this bad boy. Any kind of fatigue that you can get back is great. Now, if you had this weapon with 3 less fatigue buildup, oh my gosh. With a polearm mastery and the 3 less buildup, that would just be sick. It's just nice to actually see this. Like, I came across this super early on. It was nice that I came across it, and I'm glad I did. And this is one of the reasons that I decided to start doing this whole project in the first place. I love it. The only thing I hate about this weapon is the durability, because you are constantly hitting 3 targets at a time. That can be a little wearing on the item itself. Nonetheless, guys, beautiful. The next 2 that we're going to get into are going to freaking flip the house here. I had firsthand a chance to use the Cuddle Dagger, and I was able to defeat the Mad Barbarian with it even. And wait until you see this. Ooh, sweet baby. This thing is nice. The Blight Shiv. Hold the freaking phones. My God. This thing gets me all riled up. Well, let's start with the basics, right? So you can buy this item at 6,000 crowns. This item should be worth 13,000 crowns. You're talking the base damage, this is normal, 30 to 45. But hold the phone, okay? You go up from 20 to 29, ignoring armor. You may not think that's a big deal, but its secondary ability, the Death Blow ability, is nuts. This is going to be nuts. Oh, and don't get me even started on this. 90 freaking 4% effective against armor. Guys, this thing is normally 70. 70. I used the based freaking dagger against the Mad Barbarian. Look at that. Everything single strike. You get 3 strikes like that. 3 strikes with this weapon, and you're going to absolutely devastate your opponent, especially if they're netted, especially if they're dazed, especially if whatever you want to say. Get your freaking... Oh, man. It sucks because I wasn't able to use this thing. It sucks I didn't have the money to get this. If I could have, the things I could have done with this weapon are crazy. Oh, but this is not even the tip of the iceberg. Wait until the next one. Oh my gosh. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. MANHUNTER'S. CHISEL. I don't know why I paused there, but no. The MANHUNTER'S freaking CHISEL. This is absolutely absurd. 8,000, 8,500 essentially right down the middle. 8,500. This thing has the durability, 74 durability. That is a great deal of durability. Last one was 63. This thing does almost equivalent damage to the fighting axe at 35 to 53. The other one would be 35, 55 is for the fighting axe, or the militia axe, whatever it's called, the silver one. You know what I'm talking about. Now, it's got its normal base effect, 20 and 70. But look at that build-up, -2 less. This thing will literally eat and eat and eat. Here's the deal. When you don't have the mastery, it takes 7 skill. It takes up 7 fatigue. And then when you have the mastery, it's 6 fatigue per just base use, okay? -2. That means you're striking remember what I said, every 10 shots, you're getting 20 fatigue back essentially over that course of 10 shots. This thing here, holy freaking, my God. Oh my gosh, baptize me again. This thing here will drop you to 4 fatigue every single shot. You refund 15 fatigue, right? So what's 4 times? I was hoping I wouldn't cough through this. But what's 4 times 3? Exactly 12. You're actually not even gonna blow any fatigue using this thing. And if you use the death blow, it drops down to I think 7. Because with the mastery, it's like 9 plus -2. So then it's 21 fatigue. You're only building up 6 per time you're using it. Oh man, I just get goosebumps. I know, I get it. I'm kind of a nerd about this stuff, and I may be overdoing this. This video might not matter to anybody. I might get like 100 views and 5 downvotes because it's just crap. But let me tell you something. This is what makes this game so freaking crazy. It's not a loot crate where you have to spend money. It's I'm gonna dangle this crazy stinking dagger in front of your face, and you're gonna like it, but not be able to buy it. In your face. That's what sucks. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this episode. Please hit the like, subscribe for more content, maybe dumb content, pointless content to some people. But man, if you love Battle Brothers, you're gonna love that. And thanks a lot. Again, subscribe, like, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.